Hello, 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 everybody. I'm going to give a few minutes. I want to do a sound check just to make sure I'm being heard. I think last week's video, when I listened to the playback, the audio was so quiet. I wasn't sure if you guys were having issues as well with audio. So I just wanted to check in with you just to make sure that you can hear and you can hear well. So I'm going to wait for a few more minutes to see who pops in to join me today. All right, everybody, this is Caron Bailey, the ATX Stampin' Lady, and I am here on this awesome Saturday, September 20th, 2025. Filling in for Kathy or Irvin of the Saturday Night Crafters group. Again, as always, let me give a shout out to Kathy. Kathy, thank you as always for allowing me the opportunity to come on into Saturday Night Crafters and to share a little bit of what I do, how I create with your group members. I really do appreciate that. Guys, I am Caron Bailey, as I said, independent demonstrator with Stampin Up, and I have been with Stampin Up for about 10 years now. That's how long I've been on my Stampin' journey. And I am excited, as always, to share with you the projects that I'm creating this evening. Guys, just as always, let me go ahead and remind you that I do download and upload these videos to YouTube. So some of the comments that I make are geared towards my YouTube followers and my YouTube channel. I understand that I'm not competing with Kathy, who is also an independent demonstrator with Stampin' Up. So no competition here in this group, but just that this video will serve multiple purposes. So therefore, some of the things that I mention, it is to my my audience as well. All right, so before we get started tonight, guys, I just want to go ahead and share with you, you are in the craft room with Caron. All the products that I'm using in these classes and these projects today were purchased by myself. They were not given to me by Stampin' Up. Somebody's watching. Say hello so I can see who's there. Also, just remember to just give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. That way I can make sure that our sound and our audio is working just the way we need for it to work. All right, so before we get started with the projects, today I had my first, what I call Stamp and Sip. Stamp is my monthly class that I'm going to be holding. And there were extra kits. So for the remaining month of, hi Kathy, how are you? For the remaining month of September and into October, when you make an online purchase in my store, you will receive a kit to create one of these cards featuring the perfectly paired stamp set or bundle as a thank you for shopping in my online store. Techniques are in this class. You'll have a little bit of ink blending, some die cutting, layered stamping. What else did we do? Heat embossing on this. So lots of opportunity for you to learn new techniques in this class. Awesome. So let's get started with the projects for tonight. Guys, I am focusing on I think it's called Gathering Moments. The suite is called Gathering Moments. Actually, it's not, because if the stamp and die is called Gathering Moments, the suite is called something different. I'll go ahead and I'll get you that information. I know I wrote it down somewhere. And of course, because I wrote it down, yeah, you know what I've realized? Whenever I try, and I mean try, to be organized for you guys, I am never organized. I misplace this, I misplace that. At the last minute, things, you know, I'm rushing and I'm moving things out of my way. So anyway, here we go, found it. So this suite is called Gathering Together Suite. It does include a Stampin' Die bundle. It includes an embossing folder called Gathering Leaves. It includes some designer series paper, some embellishments called Cajun Craze and Gold Dots, and some linen thread. I'm not sure we're going to use all of it today, but hey, we're going to have a great time playing and seeing what we can create today. So this, as a suite, this is $101.50. The bundle, which is just a stamp and die, is $56.50. Okay, all right, guys, I am back. Sorry about that. I know Kathy just mentioned that I had dropped the call, so I am back with part 2. I'm not sure where you left off, but I'm gonna wait just a few more minutes for you guys to find me again. Make sure you can see that I am live and I am back and just raring to go. There we go. I see myself now, so I see it. All right, so the first card we're going to do is a gatefold card. Now, the colors I'm using in this particular card comes from the straight from the, what's the thing called? The color recommendations from the packaging. So this is an A2 card base. It was 8.5 by 5.5. A2 can also be 4 1/4 by 11. I generally do 8.5 by 5.5, but so that's what I'm working with here. So I scored on each one at 2 1/8. So there's a 2 1/8, and then I flipped it and I scored at 2 1/8. And I generally mat in eighths or 1/4 inches, so I keep that in mind. Okay. So with that, I've already cut our designer series paper. 2 1/8 is our designer series paper. I wrote it down so I don't forget. Our designer series paper is, I didn't write it down right, that's for sure. 1 7/8. 1 7/8 by 5 1/4 is what our designer series paper is. Correct, 5 1/4. And our matte layer, which is Cajun Craze, is an 1/8 of an inch bigger. So it is 2 inches by 5 3/8. That's our matte layer. I wrote it wrong. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to get that together. We're just going to mat these guys down. I am a liquid glue fan. I had my class today. I think I told you guys that at the beginning. And I held my class at the library. It was fun. Okay. I don't make belly bands as a standard, but we have a belly band that we're going to make on here. So the belly band is really going to be where the most of our design is coming from. So on the inside of our card, we have a piece of basic white that's 3 3/4 by 5. I chose to mat it with a piece of Cajun Craze that is 4 by 5 1/4. Let me go ahead and burnish my folds. And then we're going to go add our matted designer series paper. I use the term DSP a lot, and I sometimes forget that not everybody knows what that is. DSP stands for Designer Series Paper. It is Stampin' Up's way of saying pattern paper. It's actually how I learned, and so really I just refer to all pattern paper now as Designer Series paper, because it's the term that, you know, when I came to stamping, that's kind of what I learned. So that's what I call it, Designer Series paper. But it is just pattern paper. Okay, when I say just, you know what I mean. All right, let's make sure it's right side up. This is non-directional, so there's really no right and no wrong, because it is non-directional. Okay. So we've got our, so I'm going to figure out what I'm going to do on the inside, because of course we try not to have any naked insides or naked envelopes. So let me grab the stamp set out. I could use one of the die cuts. I'm choosing not to use one of the die cuts. And let me grab my block. I think I'm going to go with this one. And I'm going to stamp, oh, I didn't bring my inks back in from class. Well, there you go. So I'm going to use some crushed curry. Back of this, because I don't want it full strength. I want it to be second generation. I'm going to see what second generation looks like. It's full strength. That's second. So I want second generation on the inside of my card, okay? So I'm going to stamp off. Stamp off. Okay. And while I have that out, where's my envelope? Because I am going to decorate my envelope as well. Oh, I didn't need to do that. So what I'm going to do, stamp off, and then I'm just going to bring this guy, let's do third generation, so it'll be very light. Okay. All right. And put our envelope away. And we're going to adhere our basic white 3 3/4 panel. We've got a lot coming up next month in Stampin' Up. It is World Card Making Day next month. And Stampin' Up is offering its World Card Making Day virtual event. It is open to everyone, but you must register for the event. It is free, of course. There is a kit that we will be using and it's available on the website. I believe the kit is $32, but to participate in the virtual event is free. Now, what I am doing is I am also offering the opportunity, because it's at 3 p.m. Mountain Time. I believe 3 p.m. Mountain equates to 4 p.m. Central. I'm at work. I am. So what I'm offering to my folks, and you guys are welcome as well, is to later that evening at 7 p.m. Join me on Zoom, and we can do watch the replay together and create the cards. There is a $5 fee for that. and registration will be required because that's how I'm going to send you the link. Okay. All right, so this is the first thing that we're going to do. This part is done, and we could stop there, but I'm going to create a belly band. Okay. And I don't normally do belly bands, so this is kind of new for me. So I decided that I was going to go with 1 3/4 inch. Now the width of the belly band is not, I mean, you can do any width that you'd like, but I went with a 1 3/4 inch belly band by 11. I think 11 is going to be too much, but the most important thing that we need to consider when we are creating with a belly band is to make sure that they overlap in the back. Okay, so what you kind of do is you kind of just make sure you center it, and you can fold it and then fold the other side, making sure they overlap consistently in the back. All right. You don't want it too tight, but you don't want it too slack either. Okay? And so once you've got that done, because you need to be able to slide your band off and on. Okay? So now that I know where my folds are, I'm just going to burnish them. Making sure they're still even. And then I'm going to grab a little bit of tape, double-sided tape, to secure them. Let's make sure that we didn't change anything, we didn't shift anything, and it's not too tight now, and it will slide on and off as needed. Okay? Awesome. Okay? All right. So I'm going to put a piece of Caron tape on each end, on this side, and then on the other side, on the inside. Okay. Now I'm not going to take off the release paper just yet. I want to make sure that as I design and add things, it's still going to suit our purposes. Now, I die cut the big leaf, for one of the other projects. So the big leaf is going to be our focal image, and then all I'm going to decide is how I'm going to, excuse me, how I'm going to augment or add to this. I'm not going to create another sentiment, y'all, or another piece for the sentiment. All I'm going to do is stamp my sentiment on that piece, that die cut piece. If I can find one that fits. And I think many thanks can fit, right? I think many thanks can fit right in there. It might be a little close, but we're going to go with it anyway. Now I put away my black VersaFine because my default is black. I don't want any black in these cards. It's all going to be brown and embossed. All right, where is my... All right. Okay. Now the other thing that I want to do with this is, let's grab the Calypso core, the Cajun Craze, I'm sorry. Let's grab our Cajun Craze. And I want to just dust it with lightly with some color. Let me find a blending brush. Oh, I don't want to spill that. Let's go with this one. And I'm just gonna a little bit of color to it, just so it's not so stark in the basic beige genre. I want the stem part to be a little bit darker. I'm going to add more color there. Okay. I just did a little bit of dusting of color. All right. So my goal, I know I have many thanks, and I believe it's going to fit right here. So I want to make sure if my head gets in the shot, I do apologize. Right there. Perfect. I have my embossing powder out. I'm going to do a little bit of double embossing here. A gatefold is always a very simple card to do, and most people know how to do a gatefold card. They're just different forms of it. You have one where the edges will meet together. You have one where they'll overlap, and it's just a question of measurements at that point. This die cut doesn't even look like, I'll turn it over so you'll see the color, right? And it just looks different. All right. And we're going to do one more coat of embossing powder. So that's what I mean when I say triple emboss. And if you do triple heat emboss, you guys, it's a quick process because it just cools very quickly. And once it cools, you can't apply that next coat of embossing powder. All right, there we go. A card created by Caron is never complete without heat embossing, right? All right. Put this out of the way. I'm going to need those again. All right, so this part is done. So now all that's remaining is to see what floral pieces or what of the die cuts we're going to use in our card. I think I like those. Maybe one or two of each. Let's do that. Okay. So now it's just a matter of figuring out where everything is going to go. So we know this is going to be like this. It's going to be centered. and then it's just a matter of laying them out. Okay, and all I'm trying to do is figure out my placement. I don't like over here being naked. That's what I call it, being naked. I don't want two of the same ones together either. So oh, that's what I forgot. Hold on. Let me grab my designer series paper. That's why it's not looking right for me, because in my mind I had some designer series paper in there. So this is 1 3/4. So we're gonna cut a piece that is, let's see, 1 1/2 by 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 1/8 is what we're going to do. 1 1/2 by 4 1/8. That's too busy. I think we're going to go with that side. So 1 1/2 by 4 1/8. And this is directional, or it can be, right? So we're going to cut this at 1 1/2. Now, if you wanted to, you could mat this as well. I'm just going to adhere it to our space, like so. It was just too busy. I couldn't do this side, although I'm a plaid girl, I love plaid. Busy just was too overloading, too overwhelming. It would have been a little bit too much. All right, so here we got this adhered, and now it might look different. There we go. Many thanks. So I think we're just gonna do that, right? And then maybe this one up here as well. Okay? I think that's what we're gonna do. Okay. So, given that that's what we're gonna do, I'm gonna put this one under here like that. Okay, and then this is going to go over top. We don't want it to cover our sentiment at all. No, I think I want this one here. Right there. making sure that it's sitting right, we're going to put this guy see, I think I need for it to be on the top. Alright, so we're going to put some adhesive here, and I'm just kind of playing with this. Right? And if you choose to recreate this card, you'll know what works best with your aesthetic when you do it. Okay, and I'm going to put a little bit of adhesive on this side. Like that. And then we're going to put our second piece right here like that. Awesome. Okay. Now that that's on, we're going to add our Wink of Stella. Because I do like a shine now. We know this. Right? And then we're going to lay this out right on our card. So what I'm going to do is put our belly band back on. Because positioning is key, right? Making sure it is where we want it to be. Take your pick tool, seems to have disappeared on me, but it's probably sitting somewhere right next to me and I'm just not seeing it. Right? Make sure any hangovers is gone. Make sure they're even, and there we go. Okay. So now that we have that, we can figure out where everything, how to place, how high up this needs to be, and it's going to go right about there. And I do a lot of eyeballing. Do you guys do a lot of eyeballing? I swear you would think I was averse to you would think I was averse to rulers and such, and I'm not. So we know this is going to go here. Now, with the exception of embellishments, guys, our first card is done. All right, what do you think? I always choose my embellishments last because I have so many, I just don't know which ones I'm going to use. So here is our card, our first card with the gathering together suite. All right, let's get stuff cleaned up so we can start on card number 2. If you do have any questions, you guys, please let me know. For whatever reason, again, I'm not seeing comments, so let's put things away. I'm trying to be more, I don't know what's the term, but I'm trying to be that. You know, where I put things back after I've used them. All right, card number 2. Let's get started. Let's see, which one is another easy one? Okay, I think this one will be another easy one. This is a very simple card. So you saw where I die cut the maple leaf from, right? So this was die cut from this piece of basic beige. Now that die, you guys, this is a piece that is 4 by 5 1/4. So really, honestly and truly, if you are going to die cut, you cannot die cut on anything that's smaller than 4 by 5 1/4 for this particular die. It's just too big. Okay. So I do have another piece. This is, I don't remember which designer series paper this is from. And I did cut that to the same size, which is 4 by 5 1/4. Oh, I know what I'm going to put on that one. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to heat emboss my sentiment right here on the card. So this is 4 by 5 1/4. All right, what's going to fit there? I don't want to do much thanks again, but I might have to do much thanks again. Will this fit here? Barely. So I think that's what we're going to do. We're going to do your friendship means the world to me, and I think it'll just barely fit. Hold on, let's see. Yeah, it'll just barely fit on there. My head gets in the shot. I'm really just trying to make sure I can get the entire sentiment right in the back, on the bottom. It's got a little halo of the red rubber. Perfect! I love it when things work the way they're supposed to work. Alright, so I'm going to heat emboss this again, because that's what I do. I heat emboss. Probably only going to double heat emboss this one to save a little bit of time. Because it's quick to cool, I make sure that my powder is already in this case, my spoon, so that when it's already melted, it's just a quick amount of just applying it to whatever it is I'm applying it to. Alright, so the next thing I'm going to do with this is I'm going to find my my strips. Okay, now the pattern paper is the same size as the die cut sheet, and I did that for a reason. Ha ha ha! Can you guess why? Saw them. Here they go. Let's see. Is this gonna fit all of this? Okay. I know I have some longer strips. I don't know where they are, but I know I have some. Okay. How was everybody's week? Kathy, how are you doing? I hope your recovery's going well. Almost like a shaker card, but I don't do shakers, so... I don't know. I've never gotten into them. Maybe that's what one of my swaps will be this month, is make myself do a shaker card. I love managing or running a card swap group. I love it because I get to challenge myself. You know, this past month we did a swap that was called, there's a camouflage background technique. I've never done it, never heard of it, but guess what? I did it. Yeah. Oh, hey, Kath, I can see now. I went to my phone. Oh, good. I see the chats now. All right. Doctor says he's pleased with your progress. Amen to that. All right. Let's get going here. So I have to go to my phone so that I can see any comments. Which is just one more thing for me to have to try to look at. Kathy, do you have this bundle, this suite? I know everybody's thinking Christmas. I gotta start Christmas. I mean, I tell you, I always get caught short on Christmas cards. And, you know, I try to let my folks know. So when I'm lining up things that are of the same size, I stand them up. And then I focus on one side versus the other. And when I say versus, I just make sure that, say, on this instance, I'm looking at the left side, and I'm making sure the left side is lining up, and then I'm going to the right side, and there you go. Okay, I'm going to trim that off because apparently I didn't do such a good job. Y'all, there's a reason, and I tell y'all, there's a reason why I use liquid glue. I need all the time I can get to line things up. Well, I'm glad you're doing better, Kat. All right, so we have this part done. So I'm going to go in with a piece of cherry cobbler. Cherry cobbler just reads fall to me. Oh, I love it. But before I add it to the matte cherry cobbler, guys, I have been into splatter lately. Have you guys been into splattering at all? I don't know why, but I have been. So I'm just going to add a little bit of splatter to my card. Hold on. So this is like just a paint palette, a metallic shimmer paint palette that I got from, I think this is either Michael's or Hobby Lobby, I'm not sure. And I'm just gonna add some splatter here. And before I do that, this is the color I'm going to go with, apparently. Make sure I soak it up in there. And just splatter. Okay, that's it. That big blob right there, but hey, that happens sometimes, right? And let me grab, see if I can blob some of this up. And then I just let it dry naturally. Okay. Add my adhesive, and that's how quick card number 2 has come together. Except I'm gonna go do something that challenges me. Don't tie bows very well, so I'm gonna do a little bit of a faux bow. Okay. The Cherry Cobbler is 1/8 of an inch bigger than my 4 by 5 1/4. The beauty of liquid glue. Okay, that's down, and then this is going to go on the inside. While that's drying a little bit, let's go ahead and get this bow tied. So how I do my faux bows, alright, I just wrapped it about 3 times. You can wrap it as many times as you'd like. I wrap it 3 times. And then I'm going to reach for my third arm, my third hand I should say. I'm gonna put this guy right there so it holds it. And I'm gonna grab another little piece, make this loop. Put that in there. Try to make sure it's centered before I release, and then I'm going to tie a knot. Okay. Then I'm going to pull out my bow, my loops, add a little bit of adhesive, and our faux bow is complete. So we got that little loop up there. We can bring this down so we have 2 tails. Alright. Okay, perfect. Then all I'm going to do is add a bit of adhesive. Where did I put it? Oh, I know what I'm going to do. just a very small piece of this. Oops. Grab this off. Put it where I need it to be. And that's going to go right under here. Make sure I shove it all the way so it's not. There we go. Then I'm going to take off that release paper. Grab that release paper and then put our bow in place, just like so. And then I can spread the loops out because I have that adhesive down, right? Just like that. Alright, I am going to add gems again. I just don't know which ones I'm going to add. So, card number 2 is almost finished. Let's go ahead and add this guy. To the front of our card. And card number 2 is complete. No, you're not where I need you to be. Let's shuffle you a little bit. Yeah. I'm not sure how that guy got there. But the beauty of liquid glue. Alright, so card number 2 is complete. Okay? Well, except for our inside. I'm not going to stamp anything on the inside. But I am going to put a piece of basic white on the inside for our sentiment. Our notes and comments. Okay. And with that, card number 2 is done. Splatter and all. Okay. Very simple card. Okay. Just make a very basic, your die cut in the center, put a beautiful piece of pattern paper behind it, mat it, and add it to your card base, and card is finished. So that's card number 2. Alright, card number 3. Let's put this one away because I don't know if I'm going to use this one again. Alright. So if I'm lucky, we're going to be able to do 2 fun folds tonight. We did the gatefold card. I found this one on the website today, and I'll share with you. It's called a spanner card. Yeah. Have you heard of a spanner card before? It seems to be a little bit of a form of an easel. I'm going to show you what you can do with it. Okay? Is that next? Yeah, that's next. Alright. We're going to need a card base that's 8.5 by 5.5. We're going to need You need 4 pieces of designer series paper that's 1 inch by 4 inch. I'm going to use 6, and I'm going to show you where I'm going to use the additional 2. I mat everything by 1/8 of an inch. So the mat for the DSP is 1 1/8 by 4 1/8. You're going to need 1 piece of designer series paper that's 2 3/4 inches by 4. Mat that by 1/8 of an inch. You're going to have a piece that is 2 7/8 by 4 1/8. Need a piece of basic white that's 2 3/4 by 4. Again, mat by 1 1/8. By 1/8 of an inch. And then I grabbed a piece of acetate that is 1 by 3 1/4. Guys, if you don't have acetate, you can use cardstock. I want mine to kind of look like it's floating, so that's why I went for some acetate. So you saw this designer series paper in this card. Well, guess what? We're going to flip it over and use it on this card, right? Waste not, want not is what I always say. All right, so we're going to bring our trimmer in, right? Let's put this away because I don't want to lose it. It's clear. All right, bring in our trimmer because we need to make some cuts. So again, this is an A2 card base. It is 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4, and we do have to have it scored, okay? And so, grab my trimmer here. We're going to cut 1 1/4 in on each side. Whichever side we cut, that is going to be our front panel. Now the beauty of Stampin' Up! Trimmers, you guys, is that there is a I believe it's up to 1.5 inches on the right hand side, so I can line up my card on the right side with 1 1/4 inches, and I'm going to slide the cutting blade up until I get to that score line, and you'll feel it. It'll give a little bit of a resistance, right? You'll feel it. You don't want to go past that. You just want to go close to that. The other beauty of the Stampin' Up! Trimmer, guys, is if you look at it, I don't know if I'll get it close enough that you can see it. There is a little notch on the cutting blade, right? And that notch aligns with the, it aligns with wherever your placement is that you are cutting to. Right, so we did that. And then we're just going to turn it. Make sure our cutting blade is at the top. And we're going to do the same thing. Line it up at the 1 1/4 inches. And then cut to that score line. And you'll feel it give just a little bit of resistance. And you don't want to go any further than that. Perfect. Okay. I think that's it with our trimmer. We want to give this a good burnish. Good burnish. And then I already got my pieces cut. So with the 4, you're going to use 2 on the front if you choose to do 4. Perfect. Right? So you're going to have 2 on the front, and you're going to have 2 on the inside. But I'm going to add 2 more, and I'll show you where, because we want our card to look pretty. Up. See? Well, let's go ahead and just adhere the panels to to its coordinating mat layer. Guys, I am so pleased with myself. We've got 3 cards done, almost. Here we go. And in this card, the designer series paper, I'm using Early Espresso. and Cajun Craze. We're going to add these two to there. We're going to add them all to the coordinating mat layer, okay? Anytime you use acetate, just gives things, because it just gives things the appearance of floating. Alrighty. One. Two. Are you still with me, Kat? And then here's the third print. Guys, if you wanted to, you could keep everything the same print. I just wanted things to be a little bit different. So I used 3 different prints of designer series paper, all from the gathered together suite. I've been binging. Has anybody watching anything interesting on Netflix or any other channel for that matter? I'm really macabre, you guys. I have been binging I Am a Killer on Netflix. Go figure. I don't know why I love crime, true crime shows. I love them. Okay, so those are done. And then we're going to need to do the same thing for the 2 3/4 piece of designer series paper. Okay, now, before I forget and totally destroy this card, what I'm going to do is, and it's important that we do it at this step, is we're going to add this piece of acetate to the card, and we're going to add it before we add our layers. And guys, we only want it to, we don't want any adhesive in the center, so we're only going to add adhesive to the left and right corners. And I'm going to grab some double-sided tape. I think it might stick better. You can use glue dots. I don't think liquid adhesive will work as good on the acetate, so I would stick with either tape or glue dots, but definitely I would not recommend liquid glue for this. Okay, and you only want it on the ends. Okay. All right. We want to do it at this stage, because if we don't, it's not going to be covered up by the the designer series paper, okay? And that's the purpose of it, is to cover it up. And so we have to do it before we forget. And this piece of acetate can be any size. I just happen to cut this at 1 1/4 inches, okay? So again, it's only going to be on the outer layers, right? So, and you can align it anywhere you want to. I'm going to go about 1/8 of an inch. No, I'm sorry, about 1/2 of an inch up from the bottom. Like that. Okay. So that's going to be like that. And now we're just going to add, see how that covers that up? Which is why it's important that you add it at that level, at that stage. I don't know why it's called a spanner card fold, but that is, when I ran across it, that's what it was called. When I searched on YouTube, that's what it was called. So I guess that's what it's called, is a spanner. I don't know how it got that name, but I thought it was just so cute. So it's going to be like a 3-level card, or 3-layer. Okay. Because here's your first level. This is your second level. Just going to add this, and I'm adding the plaid at this layer because I have a more muted pattern in the middle, and so I just want something a little bit more vibrant. Not vibrant, vibrant's not the term that I'm looking for, right? Guys, we have just built this card. We haven't even done our designs yet, okay? Or decorating of the card. We have just done the fold. Okay. So again, layer 1, layer 2, and this is going to be our 3rd layer. At this point, if we wanted to put anything on the inside, we could. Do I want to do anything? Let's do this little acorn. Let's do the little acorn. Right? And I want my little acorn to be, what color do I want my acorn to be? Well, it's already out. Let's just go with our crushed curry. We can do any color, right? So I'm going to go one in crushed curry, and the other I'm probably going to do in Cajun craze. How about that? How about that? How about that? Oh, it's too dark again. So, to do one in Cajun Craze. The same thing, stamped off, and this time I might do 3rd generation, okay? I don't know where this halo's coming from, but this is one of those stamps that I'm going to have to do a little bit of surgery on to remove some of the extra red rubber that's around it. Guys, that's one of the reasons why I am not so upset about there not being our Stampin' Up's decision to kind of move away from red rubber. Ugh. You don't have the issue of halos to worry about. You know what I mean? Okay. So we have decorated our little inside panel. I don't know why I don't stamp sentiments on the inside. Now, you could from any stamp set if you have inside sentiments or whatever, but I just don't. If I'm gonna stamp anything, it's gonna be like an image of some sort. But for the most part, I generally do not stamp images or sentiments on the inside of my cards. I generally will not. Okay. Alrighty. X marks the spot. Alright guys, so except for designing our focal image, this fun fold is complete. And so here's what we're going to end up doing, right? Again, we've got our floral image. Alright. And do I want to use this side? No, I'm going to stick with the other side. And I'm just going to distress it a little bit. I'm going to distress my edges a little bit. And I don't think I'm going to put a sentiment on this one. I might wait. Because I'm not sure. There's some other stamp sets that's come out in the September release that I'm fallish, autumnish, that I might decide to use instead. So I am not going to, I don't think I'm going to stamp the sentiment. I'm not going to do the sentiment the same way I did the other one, stamp it on the maple leaf. I'm not going to do that again. But I'm just not sure what I want to say, so I'm going to leave it blank until I'm sure. I'm just distressing this a little bit, break it up a little bit so it's just not, the edges don't look really raw. And again, I want my stem here to be a little bit darker than the rest of it. Okay, now you can distress it as much or as little as you'd like, or you can choose not to distress it at all. Alright, so here we go. We're just going to go ahead and finish our, so I'm probably going to do a sentiment that's probably going to come across here, but I'm so not sure, so I'm not going to do, because I don't know what I want to do. So until I am sure, I am not going to do anything, except adhere this. Now, it's important to make sure that you don't adhere anything that your decoration to layer number 2, because in layer number 2, layer number 1 will not open on its own. Okay? So let's grab this out, because this is what we want. You can even put dimensions on there if you want to. I'm just going to cut a piece off. Right? And I'm going to do that because now I can see where I want my adhesive to be. Right? I need some here. I need some here. About here. I'm gonna need some on this side. And only on this side. I tell you, a little bit ago, I'm having such terrible breathing issues. Yeah. Well, I wear glasses. Shocker. Shocker, right? That I wear glasses. That most of us wear glasses these days. Right, and I'm going to need a little piece right here. And my vision's not bad enough that I need to have what's that thing called? LASIK or anything like that. It's just not that bad. At least that's what they tell me. Okay. Alright, so then I'm going to carefully start to remove these one at a time. So that I can lay them down and make sure that they're not attaching themselves to the next layer. But anyway, my glasses, I think a couple years ago, they had told me that my nasal passage was obstructed. I didn't need to do anything about it. It wasn't quote unquote bad enough that I needed to do any sort of medical intervention or anything. But here we go. When I wear my glasses and they slide down the bridge of my nose, they kind of rest right on the obstruction that's there. So there's that. And then we're just going to put a lot of these things on here, because we have them. And so you can also add them to layer number 2, so that layer number 2 also, I think I seal that one down, so that layer number 2 also has a little bit of decorations as well. You don't have to, but you can, right? Because that's where these are going to be adhered to, is layer number 2. Right? See? just like that. That's just a little bit too much up there. So how about we do this one, right? This one. That's the hard. That's the most. That is the most challenging part. Is just coming up with your decorations. That's it, right? And then I think let's grab. And just because you cut them, doesn't mean you have to use them, right? Because most of this will be hidden, so I don't want to do that. So I think I'm just going to use those two, at least there, right? So yes, I picked them up exactly the way I use them. I want to see them laid down. And then we're just gonna adhere them like so. Working on here, if I do it that way, what are we going to see here? Oh, that's not bad. So we're going to do that one, and that one. I prefer them under. So we're going to do that, put them under. I want it to go that way. And I want this to come this way. So I am going to stamp my sentiment on this. Not on it, but like that. I think that's what I'm going to do. That. Sorry, I'm thinking. I'm thinking. You can always tell when I'm thinking. My brain is on fire. I know. Oh, Lordy. That's too far down. That's going to go there, and that's going to go there, and these guys are going to spread apart just like that. Okay, perfect, awesome. And then what do we not have on here? right. Now I know you're not going to see all of this from all of this from the top, but when you do open it and you have that second layer, you're going to have something else that you can take a look at. You can also put a second sentiment on here. You just can't add any dimensions to it or anything. And I just might do that as well. We'll see. When I'm unsure about how I'm going to decorate, I just kind of leave it, let it settle for a little bit, and then move on from there. So that's what we have. On our top layer, we'll see that. I am going to put a sentiment right here. I'm not quite sure. I'm going to tie a little bit of maybe a faux bow, another faux bow. Then I'm going to show you what I'm going to do with these two, because I don't want this to be naked up there. So I'm going to add these two here. But in theory, guys, you only need 4. 2 for here, 2 for the third layer, 2 for the top layer. I'm just being extra. I'm just being extra and adding them to the top. Okay? But the last 2 are optional. All right. So we did 3. You guys want to stick with me and do this last one, or have you had enough? I think you guys have had enough of me. All right, so there's our card. Minus sentiments and extra bling. So here's our layer 1. Here's our layer 2. And here's our third layer. I think that's awesome. So I did have one more card in mind. I think I am going to delay that card. I might just work on it later and post it in the group. And then that just gives me something else to come back to you with next week, right? Alright, so let me show you what the 3 cards that we have made featuring the Gathered Together stamp set and bundle. So here's card number 1. And it's called the Spanner card. Spanner card. Here's card number 2. And here's card number 3. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed these cards. I know I had a great time making them. And I do hope you'll join me next week. Am I going to be here next week? Yes, I am going to be here next week. So I do hope you'll join me next week as we create. I'm not sure what I'm going to create with. Lots of new stuff out, so I have lots of things to choose from. So there we go. Guys, have any questions about any of these cards that we created this evening, please reach out to me. I'd be more than happy to help you. If you are watching me on YouTube, just enter hashtag YouTube in the comments. So I'll know you're watching the replay in YouTube. Oh, see, you're still saying stuff. You said, not yet, I'm focusing on Christmas. Oh, but your medication is kicking in. Okay. Well, Kathy, again, thank you so much for allowing me the opportunity to come into your group and present. I hope your team are enjoying the products that I'm sharing with them. Guys, I am planning, I think I'm going to go live on my YouTube channel tomorrow morning. I'm not sure. I have not done a roll of the die in a long time, and it's just bugging me that I haven't done it. So I'm going to roll the dice tomorrow and do a quick card in the morning with roll of the die. So hope you can join me there too. Visit my YouTube, youtube.com/Sweet Signature, and you'll more than likely find me. Guys, I am Caron Bailey, the ATX Stampin' Lady. Thanks for joining me on this November 20th, and happy stamping.